Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Ricky with Bromero Cards, and I'm back this week to show you a card I made using some stamps I purchased from craftgalley.com, and here we go. The first stamp set we're going to be using today is from Simon Says Stamps. It's the big U words. We're going to be using one of the big U's. We're also going to be using Sunny Studios That Sucks. This is what I purchased from craftgalley.com. Make sure you go over and check that out. We're going to use some random floral paper, pattern paper. You can use any pattern paper actually for this. We're going to use some Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock to do some Copic coloring with. A black piece of cardstock at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then we're going to use some Copic markers. This piece of paper we're not even going to use. I'm not for sure why it's in the video. We're going to use some Copic markers, and I'll give you those numbers as we start to color. We're going to use the Lawn Fawn small and large stitched rectangles. I'm really not for sure what the sizes are. I used 3 of them. We're going to use some Craft Metal-y sequins for the card as well. And as always, we're going to use 3M foam tape for dimension on our card. And to do some stamping, we're going to use an acrylic block for that as well. Also, we're going to use a really good stamping tool. It's called the Misty. A lot of card makers should have this because it's a really good tool. We're going to use some adhesive. We're going to use this tape runner adhesive and liquid adhesive. Lawn Fawn Jet Black and VersaFine, which I believe we just used VersaFine. And then we're going to use the Big Shot to cut out our stuff with. We're going to start cutting out our paper. This is at lightning speed. We're going to cut off our one piece that we're going to do our stamping on for the words. And then we're going to cut out our floral pattern paper that will go on our card as well. This is smaller than the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 black cardstock that we're going to use. And then I'm going to use the rectangle on the black cardstock and actually cut this out. I actually made a mistake, so I had to redo this, and we have everything set. Now we're going to do our stamping of the vacuum cleaners. This is the Lawn Fawn ink used for Copic coloring. It's safe for that, so you can use this. And then we're going to start getting into coloring our vacuum cleaner. The colors I'm using today for the pink part of the vacuum cleaner are R81, R83, and R85. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down the first layer of R81, make sure I get an even coat throughout the vacuum cleaner. And then I'm going to go in and do a little shading with R83. I always start out with light and then use my darker colors to shade out. Some people do it opposite. It's just easier this way for me. So once I get finished with the R83, I'm going to go in with the R85 and just do a little bit of highlighting along the edges of the stamp set, just to give it a little dimension. And then I'll complete that, or I'll go in with my lighter color and just cover the whole thing one more time. That just gives it an even look. And then I'll go in each time and redo that. I have several, I guess I went several times. I thought I only did it once, but I was wrong. And then I'm doing the top part. There's a little bar above the bag, and I just painted it one color, or colored it one color. Then we're using N1, N3, and N4 to do the vacuum bag. The same concept here. I'm just going to cover the whole bag in the lightest color. And then I'm going to go in with N3 and add some highlights to this portion of the card. And I'm just doing some feathering and adding a darker color along the side. And then what you'll see me do here in a moment is I'm going to take the N4 and I'm just going to go along the edges of some of the card and add a little bit of more dimension to it by adding some shading. And I believe I may go in one more time with the lightest colors and just blend those in a little bit more. Sometimes it takes more than 1 or 2 times. You actually have to go back and forth several times in order to get it right. And then I'm going to use C3 and C5 to do the handle of the vacuum cleaners. And that's really simple coloring. You don't have to do a lot of shading for that. And you're going to see me do that here really quick. I've just put down the lightest color and then using the darkest color to trace the lines that are on the handle. So now I'm going to fussy cut this out. Normally there is a die for it and I could have used it, but it was just easier for me to cut this out. I was actually talking to my friend Melinda on FaceTime when I was doing this. So the card took about 15 or 20 minutes to make, and that's while with talking. If I wasn't talking, it wouldn't have taken that long. I'm doing the fussy cutting here at, I believe, 4 times the speed. So it doesn't go that fast, of course. Everyone knows that. So now we're going to do some stamping of the sentiments. This card is meant to be funny. This is what you would send to a friend that's really close to you and that you feel could take a joke. You're going to see me here rearrange a couple times because things aren't working out right. That's the good thing about the Misty. This grid acetate sheet is amazing. You can get that at Simon Says Stamp as well. So I'm going to put the magnets down. I'm going to stamp this with the Versamark. And I just do 2 stamps, and now it's time to put the card together. I'm going to lay down the floral card or the floral background onto the black cardstock. And then I'm going to take the sentiment sheet. I'm going to add some 3D foam tape here to give it a little dimension. And then I'm going to take the backings off and go ahead and place that onto the card as well. I noticed here it's a little crooked, not too bad, but you know, enough to annoy me. I'm going to add 3M foam tape to the back of the vacuum cleaner and some liquid adhesive to keep it stuck onto the card. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put it on the card base. I'm going to use some liquid adhesive. I always do this because it's easier to place the card onto the card base. If you make a mistake, you have some time to move this. And then the final step here is we're going to add those pink sequins to the card. Now, these really don't show up too much on the pattern paper on camera, but in real life, they actually do show up. And I'm just applying this with some matte medium glue, along with my trusty pencil here that helps me put these down, because I have man hands and they're too big. So that's the completed card, actually. And then I'm going to pull in another card here, and you'll take a look at that. I want to say thank you for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you're enjoying these card tutorials, and I would love to bring you more. So make sure you watch some of the older videos and click the big B in the video to subscribe to the channel. Thank you and have a great week. Bye.